Good evening, friends. Thank you for joining me every evening to follow what's happening in India and abroad. Thank you for sending me your useful comments and suggestions. If you believe in this channel, do share it with your friends and spread the message. Our only mission is to bring you the truth and both sides of the story. Thank you for your support. For those of you who did not follow the Gulshan Kumar murder case, which was years back, I'll give you a short sort of brief of what happened and about the people behind it and how, in Sushant's decoded diary, he speaks about this from the slide that Deepthi has already read to us. One thing you must realize is that we are talking about a case that happened in 1997 and how things have not changed at all in Mumbai. In fact, of how people have become even more vicious, bold, and sure that they will get protection from politicians, bullied, police, media, and activists. That is a kind of feeling that exists in Mumbai. So, friends, you would ask that to the people who do not know about Gulshan Kumar, who was Gulshan Kumar? That Sushant Singh had mentioned in the diary, and what was his connection with Mafia Dawood? Gulshan Kumar was an Indian businessman who was the founder of the T Series music label. Earlier, it was Super Cassettes Industries Limited. And he was a Bollywood movie producer as well. He founded T Series in 1980s and established as a leading record label in the 1990s. But he did not start off as a rich man. He was only the son of a fruit juice vendor in Daryaganj. His name was Gulshan Kumar Dua, and he was the son of Chandra Ban Kumar Dua, a fruit vendor juice vendor who worked in the streets of Daryaganj neighborhood in the heart of Delhi. Gulshan Kumar started working with his father from an early age. He was a devoted worshipper of Shivji and Devi Parvati, as he was a follower of the Shaiva tradition of Hinduism. He changed career paths when his father acquired a shop selling records and inexpensive audio cassettes, which foreshadowed the onset of a vast music empire. He did not know at that time how big he would grow. He started his own, after this, he started his own audio cassette operation known as Super Cassettes Industries. Many of us, you would remember that we used to earlier use, cassettes. After records came, cassettes. It's only then after that CDs came in, and then your, other drives. So Gulshan Kumar started his own audio cassette operation known as Super Cassettes Industry, which turned into a very profitable business. He began a music production company in Noida, in Delhi. As his business started growing, he moved to Mumbai. His first movie in Bollywood was Lal Dupatta Malmal Ka in 1989. Next was the big hit Ashiki in 1990, where he told the music director was Nadeep Shravan, and he told singer Anuradha that every person, even on the street, would be singing these songs. That was how much money he put into the advertisement. His other movies included Bahar Aane Tak, Dil Hai Ke Manta Nahi, Aayi Milan Ki Raat, Meera Ka Mohan, Jeena Marna Tere Sang, and Bewafa Sanam. During the life of Gulshan Kumar, T Series emerged as one of the top music labels in India. Today, it continues to be a major label. Today, T Series controls more than 60% share of the Indian music market. In the international market, T Series enjoys a turnover in excess of 4.2 million and exports to 24 countries across 6 continents. In India, it has the largest distribution network of over 2,500 dealers. In 1997, he was murdered by the Mumbai Underworld Syndicate T Company, and after his death, T Series has since been run by his younger brother Krishan Kumar and son Bhushan Kumar. His daughters Tulsi Kumar and Khushali Kumar are also playback singers. Nadeem Saif and Shravan Rathod were the music directors who were coming up with music at that time, and they were popularly known as Nadeem Shravan. The musicians gave many hits in Bollywood films during the 90s, including Ashiki, Sajan, Raja Hindustani, and Pardees. When Gulshan Kumar was killed, Nadeem was vacationing in London when arrest warrants were issued against him in the Gulshan Kumar murder case. In 2002, Nadeem was acquitted of all charges by a Mumbai Sessions Court. Meanwhile, Shravan was admitted to SL Raheja Hospital this year in a critical condition after testing positive for COVID. He breathed his last at the hospital on 23rd April 2021. Now, if you hear the truth about it from Sushant's diary, also, we'll be talking about that as well. Before we go to what Sushant said, we must remember that Bollywood is an extremely secularized territory where any notions of overt nationalism are not only scoffed but also nipped in the bud, because such tendencies could dangerously lead to Hinduization of the industry. Thus, a talentless music composer like Anu Malik would achieve star status by singing in a Don's birthday in the late 80s, while an Adesh Srivastava finds no support even for cancer treatment. You remember at this time he was suffering. He was the one who was most against the underworld. And his wife, sister of Sulakshana Pandit, Vijeta Pandit, literally had to beg money for his treatment. The dark underbelly of the glamour industry of Mumbai, which often gets completely glossed over by stereotypical interviews of actors like Nasiruddin Shah venting out their imaginary grievances, must be presented in its full glory, lest we forget the past realities. It is not as if the Mumbai underworld did not take an interest in Bollywood movies before the arrival of the mercurial Don Dawood Ibrahim. Before, Haji Mastan did have his share of glitz and glamour quotient, as he was known to finance many B-grade movies and was also rumored to be promoting a Madhubala lookalike starlet for a few years before he realized the futility of his endeavors. You would have remembered seeing Haji Mastan sitting with Dilip Kumar and Saira Banu in some pictures. Yet, it was Dawood who was not merely interested in bit roles of Bollywood and instead exerted total control over the movie industry. Although no clear data of that era is available because of the shady financial affairs of the film world, as per conservative estimates of the 250 crores rupees total annual production costs of Bollywood in the 1990s, nearly 50 crores rupees was supposed to be underworld money. This is how Dawood controlled Bollywood and was able to get almost every top film star of that era to go for the infamous Raat Roki in Dubai, which means literally an overnight stopover at Dawood's den in Dubai. It was not just the direct control of Dawood and his men on Bollywood that marked the 1990s, but also the rise of a large number of shady producers and filmmakers who had access to the nearly unlimited hot money and were simply not affected by box office receipts or economics of the movie making business. Hanif Kadawala was one such film producer who, along with his partner Samir Hingora, had graduated from a small-time pirated video cassette seller to a big film producer. It was an era when politicization of criminals had become the reality of heartland politics, while mafiaization of Bollywood was the reality of Mumbai. Sanjay Dutt was merely the tip of the iceberg of this mafia control of Mumbai. Mukesh Dugal, Lawrence D'Souza, Sudhakar Bokare, and hit music director Nadeem of Nadeem Shravan duo were just some of the other film personalities of that era who had either risen from Mumbai Mafia or allegedly had some links with the underworld. The heady cocktail of Bollywood, Mafia, and the rise of the Islamist terrorists has exerted such a control over Mumbai that even being a devout Hindu in such an atmosphere was fatal. The reign of terror had reached its zenith in the late 90s when Gulshan Kumar, the big boss of T-Series, was murdered in broad daylight. He was a devout Hindu who produced hundreds of Hindu religious music albums every year to propagate Hinduism among the masses, which had not gone down well with the Islamist mafia of Mumbai. At that time, two private television channels alleged on Monday, on that particular time, that music composer Nadeem Saifi of Nadeem Shravan duo may be under the protection of absconding mafia Don Dawood Ibrahim. The revelation reportedly came following the interception of phone conversations between Dawood and his aides, which were aired by India Today and TV and Archtak on a certain day. The conversations purportedly between Dawood and his henchmen in Dubai and London suggested that Nadeem, currently, when he was in self exile in the UK, is enjoying the protection from the dawn. The authenticity of the clips aired on TV could not be independently verified. An associate of Dawood who called up used code words like Ustad, London friend, which apparently referred to Nadeem, and the three intercepted calls were made in early 2015, according to the channels. Now, if you take excerpts from Sushant Singh's diaries, as was read by Deepthi Pinnati, who has uncoded it, what Sushant says, we just read a bit of that. If there was another person, noted personality, who wanted to stand for himself and stand for what is right, it is Gulshan Kumar ji. Not that he was a clean person from the day one, but compared to others, he was much better. He had gotten to know a lot about dirty secrets. Now, these are Sushant Singh's words about dirty secrets of the industry from people, and he wanted to act not just for society, but also because his personal life was in a mess. So he decided to go for a strike. He was not at all worried about the involvement of the underworld in this industry. Friends, you will understand now, since I've given you a background, you will understand exactly what Sushant is talking about. So he says that, but he was not at all worried about the involvement of the underworld in the industry, but he definitely could digest that he had to bow his head down to a person like, if he had to bow down to a person like Dawood, he was always worried. Dawood used to finance production studios, and also he had major concerns on piracy issue. It was people like Nadeem and Sajid who used to get work done for Dawood and also set up meetings and deals for him. This is what Gulshan Kumar got to know, and then it was like he was furious on Nadeem, as he was closely associated with Nadeem. So here he is talking about Sajid means his partner. So it was Nadeem and Shravan. So Sajid was the partner. I'm not quite sure about it, but if some connections can be made around this tiff in the relationship of both, took dirty shapes and set up both professional and personal rivalry between both, and this rivalry was spoken about in the industry back then, and even now, today, it's been a talk of the town. Now, the thing is we need to be aware of here is, how did this all start? And why was it required for Gulshan Kumar to be set to rest? See, I'm telling you things which I heard, and I'm not sure how much of it is actually the way it is. You will see the casual way Sushant is writing is exactly the way he would have been speaking at that time. When movie Ashiki was released, Gulshan Kumar was happy. But what happened around this time was he found out that Nadeem, without informing, was in touch with D Company for something. I'm not sure exactly, but there are instances where I can tell you both. He was in touch with the company, trying to get them on board of investors, and he was making sure he was planning all meetings, collecting money from them. He was not even informing Gulshan Kumar about it. And if inner sources are to be believed, Gulshan Kumar had caught him in the act, and this created tension in between them. And this is how it all started. Second point he says is Nadeem tried to give out information about Gulshan Kumar's schedule, daily schedule, and his weakness and strength to D Company, so that they can use this to get him on board and be part of his ventures. And this was informed to Gulshan Kumar by a common friend. And this is how it all started. I don't know which of the statements are true, but these are two statements I've got. And I believe his death and the mystery around it revolves around these two statements. And if some others are saying, what others are saying are to be believed, there were 5 secret meetings done where some investment plans were discussed. And Gulshan Kumar never was in the loop. And when things came to his notice, he was furious. Another scenario to this was that Gulshan Kumar himself was involved. And there was a tiff in percentages, which gave rise to the fight, and that is what led to his death. And yes, the most important thing here is that the shooting incident which took place, the person who was the man behind this, Nadeem, And that is one of the main reasons he ran away from the country. And this is where everywhere I will get you to connect it to some people around this, and this will help you to get to the roots of it. This is all I know about these two murders. This was a complete account of the first meeting I had with Mahesh Bhatt. So remember, friends, Mahesh Bhatt had promised to tell him and help him with the Gulshan Kumar case through other sources. But he never got back and didn't even give him any useful information. So all that is mentioned is what SSR has, investigated and brought. So how did Gulshan Kumar die, viewers? Let's go into that. He was killed in the most inhuman way. Gulshan Kumar was shot in broad daylight in a chilling murder that sent shivers down the spines of many in Bollywood. He used to visit the Shiva temple in Andheri, Mumbai, every morning as a routine. On August 12th, too, he went. He didn't change his routine, so people knew exactly that he would go at a certain time, which is around 10:30. He would be there at the temple. He went inside and he prayed for some time. The whole neighborhood was very quiet. That's what he noted, and that's what was known, as if everybody knew that something is going to happen. When he came out, there were two people hiding in some huts. They were waiting with guns. The moment he came out, they shot him. He fell down and he tried to crawl into one of the huts and asked a woman to shut the door after, to keep the killers out. But the lady inside was nervous, and that gave them enough time to fire around 15 bullets into him. He was immediately taken to Cooper Hospital, yes, the very famous Cooper Hospital, and declared dead on arrival. He was said to have got threatening extortion calls from Abu Salim for rupees 10,000 crores since August 1997. Notorious Mumbai underworld don Abu Salim had earlier demanded a regular hafta of rupees 5 lakh rupees every month from Gulshan Kumar, who had steadfastly refused to pay up and had even gone to the extent of insulting Salim by insisting that he would rather donate the money to Mata Vaishno Devi's Bandara. So you hear what you're seeing in Maharashtra, what Bharamveer Singh and Sachin Waze and the government is doing is the same thing. It is vasuli, extortion money. So it seems this has spread all over Maharashtra like poisonous tentacles. In order to teach a lesson to Hindu filmmakers to remain subservient to the Muslim mafia of Mumbai, Gulshan Kumar was bumped off near Jiteshwar Mahadev Temple of Andheri in August 1997. On August 1997, composer Nadeem Saifi was declared co-conspirator in his murder, that he had hired killers, and then he had gone to UK to escape. He had escaped. When the police captured a man called Ali Sheikh, he confessed that he was present at the meeting in Dubai in June with Dawood, Abu Salim, Qayyum, Anis. Anis is Dawood's brother, and music composer Nadeem, to fix Gulshan Kumar. So that was the intention. In between this, big stars from Bollywood were brought into Dubai to perform free for a Dawood event. And it was said that names that we hear, friends, even today, had gone. So we're talking about Shah Rukh Khan, Salman Khan, Jackie Shroff, Chanki Pandey, Pooja Bhatt, Boni Kapoor, Aditya Pancholi, Milind Soman, Malaika Arora, Deepak Tijori, Sajid Khan, Atul Agnihotri, who has married Salman Khan's sister, and some others among them. They all performed for free. Now, why would stars act or perform for free unless they're all under this threat? So what then was the compulsion for them to do so? And why do we hear the same names when it comes to the death of Sridevi, Jia Khan, Sushant, or Disha? When the police traced the phone call, they realized that Nadeem had made calls to Abu Salim. So the next day, the police officer Rahul Minders told reporters in a press conference on September 1st that goons were hired by Nadeem because he felt Gulshan was threatening his career. Nadeem was in UK with his wife and she was undergoing some treatment, he said. It was said rival Ramesh Taurani of Tips. You would remember that these two, you talk about T series and Tips were in constant competition. And it was said that rival Ramesh Taurani of Tips and Nadeem worked together to bring him down. Apparently, Nadeem Saifi was enjoying Dawood Ibrahim's protection in Britain, as was suggested by the intercepted phone calls. But the fact seems that Gulshan Kumar did not give in to extortion demands like SSR, and he was eliminated for not bowing down to mafia and setting the wrong example. The sheer power of Mumbai's mafia had grown to such an extent that many in Bollywood and even local politicians had begun to use a new term to describe Dawood's control over the city known as God, G-O-D, which means government of Dawood. Ibrahim and his cohorts virtually ran a parallel rule of the underworld across the financial capital of India by the mid-90s. On April 2002, 18 of the 19 accused were released. Abdul Rauf was found guilty and sentenced to life imprisonment. So a small fish was caught in a big net where the main octopus was missing. It's interesting to note that Mumbai police had another version of what happened where the police sound more like heroes. What Rakesh Maria, the ex-commissioner of Mumbai police, in his recently launched autobiography, Let Me Say It Now, has revealed that Mumbai police had detailed intelligence on a plot to kill T-Series founder and music baron Gulshan Kumar, down to the name of the underworld don whose gang had been assigned this task. Even though Mumbai police was aware of the plan and how it was supposed to unfold, the police could not avert the death of Kumar, who was shot dead on 12th August 1997 outside a Shiv temple which was near his house. The police officer wrote, "It all began with a telephone call in the early hours of April 22, 1997. Sir, Gulshan Kumar ka wicket girne wala hai," which means, Sir, Gulshan Kumar is about to be assassinated. The voice on the other end of the phone said. "Who is the wicket taker?" Maria asked. "Abu Salim, साहब, उसने अपने शूटर्स के साथ सब प्लान पक्की किया है। गुलशन कुमार रोज सुबह घर से निकल के पहले एक शिव मंदिर जाता है, वहीं पे काम खत्म करने वाला है." Translated, it reads as, Abu Salim is the one planning to kill Gulshan Kumar. He has finalized the plan with his shooters. The first thing that Gulshan Kumar does in the morning after leaving home each day is to go to a nearby Shiv temple. That is where they are going to bump him off. The informant replied. After receiving the tip from the informant at daybreak, Maria called film producer director Mahesh Bhatt and asked him whether he knew Gulshan Kumar and whether he was aware that he visited a Shiv temple every morning. Maria also told Bhatt the reason he was inquiring. Bhatt called back after a while to confirm the information. Then I told Bhatt I would be briefing the crime branch and he must tell Gulshan Kumar not to stir out of the house till the crime branch had got in touch with him and made arrangements for his safety, wrote Maria. Then the then Assistant Inspector General, Maria then called up the crime branch and filled them on all the crucial details, and ultimately Kumar was provided with the requisite protection by the Mumbai police. Though Maria delayed the inevitable for some months, the doomsday clock inevitably struck for Gulshan Kumar 3 months later. It came as a big shock to me when on 12th August 1997, I received a call that conveyed the news of Gulshan Kumar's murder in the manner that it had been described. Maria concluded in the book, the investigation after the murder revealed that Gulshan Kumar was being provided security by a contingent of the UP police as he owned a cassette factory in Noida. Therefore, the security provided by the Mumbai police was withdrawn. Somewhere down the line, routine and apathy could have set in, as it often happens in the prolonged watch and ward duties, he explained. Friends, but while Dawood has disappeared, apparently he's been killed, shot, he still has ensured that filmmakers and writers would glorify his type into dark heroes. Right from Ekta Kapoor's Once Upon a Time in Mumbai, Dobara, a love triangle featuring a cricket loving Don, Shootout at Lokhandwala, Jannat, and Shootout at Wadala continue to hark back to a past in which Dawood won his supremacy by battling the police and rival thugs on Mumbai's streets and controlling international betting rackets. In Anurag Kashyap's adaptation of Zaidi's Black Friday, Dawood is portrayed simply as Dawood. He is listed as such in the credits. The movie of the same name, which was supposed to have been released in 2004 but was delayed for 3 years by litigation, focused on the Memon family that hatched the terrorist plot, but it also features Dawood as a distant but vital patron who blesses the dastardly deeds and attacks from a mansion in Dubai. Played in a serio-comic fashion by Vijay Maurya, Kashyap's Dawood is part real and part fantasy, a portrait of a Don as he supposedly is and what he should be like. All this deliberately done to show a humane side to the underworld brutal killers and manipulators. They're not entirely wrong. Dawood hasn't lived in Mumbai since 1993, when 13 bombs he helped plant blew swaths of it to the ground and killed 257 people. Then he fled to neighboring Pakistan. But D Company henchmen still run Mumbai, India's so-called maximum city. They pimp and push, smuggle and scale. D Company goons slip vast shipments of contraband into the city, extort the stars of Bollywood, and fix cricket. He even backs militants in Kashmir and northern Nigeria. In truth, D Company is more than a mafia. Whether he is there or not, it's more than a mafia. It's a transnational criminal organization, a terrorist group, and an economic actor, wrote one US academic. And it remains both a national and regional security threat for South Asia. So that's all for now, friends, and let me have a look at your comments as well. So whatever Sushant has explained, in his diary is so true. So, many times you think that, see, he knew a lot, and perhaps because he knew a lot, they had to remove him, just like they did Gulshan Kumar. So just let me have a look at your views also. Peace, Yogesh, good one. Mr. Tarkibat, stay out of here. Gloria, I'm hoping people wake up from their slumber and see what's happening around and boycott Gutterwoods, Small Street, reality shows, OTT platforms, boycott also products they advertise and some media. As Monica says, yes, this is eye-opening. He was finding out a lot of truth about the industry. Yes. KB, I think the same R. Torani of Tips also spoke to SSR one day before his murder. Is there some common link in both the murders? Yes, that could be there could be something to it, KB. Good evening, Harsha. जोशी मैडम हम लोगों की कमी ये है कि यूनिटी कम होती है. Please be united for justice for SSI. Yes. PRs are the first one registered in hell. You will burn in hell. Bhavani, common pattern. Any person who's doing really well and follows Sanatana Dharma will get destroyed. The Urdu wood does not want Sanatana Dharma to flourish. Clash of civilization. Hindus must wake up. Peace. Pandey is Mahesh Bhatt in disguise. Come on, Pia, try harder. Peace. Gulshan Kumar was also eliminated just because he was promoting Hinduism and religious songs. There's some sources. Gloria, she's making money because she got a certain audience to watch her stuff. Peace. Unity Kumar is now making money, making dark shootout films. She knows where to bank. Yes, absolutely. Rajwinder, this whole thing is very deep because no one stopped it at the beginning. Sushant and others will get justice for sure. It's unfortunate that we don't have people like Sushant with us. Sanjay, Vijeta is a famous music director's sister and Pandit Jasraj's niece. So why she had to beg? Because she did not have funds to pay for her husband, Srivastava, he was suffering from cancer. We have helped school dropouts buy huge land spaces, build resorts and farms. Not anymore. KB, so cruel how they killed him. Vasuli gangs have been on since then. Also, I think they wanted to set an example for others to cough up. Yes, absolutely. He was set as a. This was the first of that. These examples. Unbiased news. Your videos are very informative. Thank you so much. Bhavani, they are targeting true Sanatanis, so it became easier to brainwash the population and younger generation. Today, his son and daughter-in-law are acting quite weird. Music videos and whatnot. Peace. Ranjita, but it was not just extortion. He was asked to stop all funding at Mata Vaishnavi Devi Shrine. Yes, there seems to be other, intentions as well. Sanjay, unbiased news, UK is a heaven for these type of people. Very difficult to extradite. Yes, absolutely. Gopal Krishna, these cabal and mafia are controlled by Vatican. Peace, Cooper means directly Upar, yes. KB, maybe Vijayta didn't compromise or agree to show flesh or so. Casting couch was already in that industry. Or they were scared to ask due to her brother being of the same industry. Welcome, Sanjat. Nadeem must be deported. Shubha, yes. Gloria, M. Bhatt was narrating all this to Sushant. No, Gloria. This was what Sushant was saying. Mahesh Bhatt had said that he would give him information, which he didn't. So this is a point I clarified with Deepthi as well, because I was also not sure about that. KB, I think you're talking about astrologer Bharat Gupta, who did readings of Sushant and this thing, Disha's birth charts. Sanjat, music is a very tightly controlled industry world over. Mafia cabal controls even the Hollywood music, yes. Meenaji, I don't understand why Vijayata had to beg for money. She is music director Jatin Lalit's sister. Yes, but see what happens, Sanjay, once they get married, then perhaps they feel ashamed to ask someone for money. It could be that. I'm not sure because what would have been the compulsions. Gloria, the fact is that they've been getting away with this. Yes. ध्रुव गुलशन से शुरू हुआ, शायद गुलशन का जन्म ये सब खत्म करने के लिए हुआ. Justice for SSR and Disha. Yes. Can you please bring Bharat Shah, astrologer, on the show along with Ravi Ji? I feel a lot of things can come out. We can check that. KB, did Ramesh Saurani have a hand in it? I was too young then and not too sure, ma'am. Yeah. They say that he wasn't very close with Nadeem, and we can see a lot of photographs of them together. Joshi, Shweta Singh supporting Pavitra Rishta, in my opinion. She looks suspicious. You scratch my back, I'll scratch yours. She's a bit dubious. She's always involved. Is she also involved in Sushant's murder? That may not be true, Joshi, but yes, she does rush to protect Ankita every time she's questioned by social media. KB, good evening, Meenaji. For today's topic, I've always wanted to know more about Gulshan Ji's murder. He made so many religious cassettes which were very popular among Hindus like me. Yes. Okay. KB, ma'am, I think this thing, yeah, we had already covered that. Thank you, Gloria. Vijayanand, why the Mumbai police? What is your question pertaining to? If you could just elaborate, Vijayanand. Unbiased news, here people start blaming each other. Rahul, good evening, ma'am. If Deepthi ma'am starts sharing the evidences like videos and doc that SSR had encrypted, agencies would come to action. Just a thought. Yes, let's see what she has in mind. She'll be coming on Monday, so let us see. Rajvinder, we have so many evidences. Why there's no action from government? Is it because of powerful people involved? Yes. Archana, good evening. Monica, I didn't really like that Sunil Jha was saying in one of his videos that SSRians have gone cold in their efforts for justice after 1 year. I don't feel that is a true representation of efforts. Monica, this is a line that the PR are trying to push. across, but it's something that is not true. So we all know it, and we need to continue fighting for justice. So we know what to do. You can keep on barking. Vijayanand, please root out the anti-Indian persons like Khan brothers and Butt. Monica, we SSRians may fight difference, but we are still here fighting for the same cause. Yes, don't have any doubts. Nanda, Kunal Singh invested in Karjat after paying money land mafia, not receiving those calls. Then he filed case into CBI and he got killed. This is what happens. Unbiased, I left bully David in my teens after knowing about the casting couch. Yes. Sanjay, Vijayata's brothers are Jatin Lal. So I'm surprised here. So here again, I would talk, there would be a lot of things involved, Sanjay. See, once a person gets married, then, they find it demeaning to ask for help. And perhaps she was frightened of the industry itself. When the mafia is controlling it, perhaps she was scared of such an industry as well, Brenda, the common factor here is that Mumbai police had intelligence info on the elimination, just like in the case of SSR. Exactly. So that's why I brought up this case, because it's so similar to SSR, because SSR also did not bow down to these people's dictates. So it's for sure that he and people like Jia, all of them are strong, independent-minded people. And the moment they don't comply, then the next stage is to eliminate them. Dr. Pushpalata, I find Gulf media representing India as a leftist view, very negative about the current government. One of the reasons might be that their Indian employees belong to a particular community and live. Dr. Pushpalata, even when I was in Dubai for so many years, I remember it was always, anti our, usually anti government and very, very leftist, and taking a particular stand. KB, why can't government demolish Daud's mansions in Bendi Bazaar and other Bombay places? I believe there is a court order allowing demolition or auction of those some years back. So why they are not doing it? In fact, KB, even in Dubai, there are buildings and hotels that he owns. So in fact, I think the Flora name Flora also itself means that he's got some name hotels and residences under that name. And that, I think, belongs to Dawood, the late Dawood. Dr. Pushpala joined a little late. Keep up the good work. After reading Priyanka's tweet, we are hopeful that family has faith in CBI. Which tweet are you talking about, Dr. Pushpala? If you could share it. Devanushi could join in late, but good to be in a live session. Welcome, Devanushi. You always add so much life to our program. Peace, unbiased, then you should expose them to open public eyes. Yes. We are waiting for Noida film industry to start ASAP. Yes. Nipun, yesterday SSR Priyanka Didi replied to the paid Bihar who say they want justice, but they defend Priya and insult SSR. Always attacks his family. Okay. Lata's World, ma'am, any news of Dr. Padma? My feeling says regarding Shweta Singh during earn money, somehow she got connected, but doesn't mean not in love with the brother. This is also the possible, the gang forces to support. Could be. There could be something behind. But we're not clear about that, Lata. But it irritates SSRians. Varsha, good evening. Sorry I joined late. Welcome, Varsha. Monica, be patient. The awareness has just begun seeping in. So it will take some time for revolution to happen. Absolutely. Divakar, Gulshan was killed because of the underworld. His son Bhushan surrendered to the D gang rule. Otherwise, he cannot exist. That's how Mumbai has made it. I mean, everybody is in it together. Why can't the Indian government call for a surgical strike against Dawood, Priyadarshini? I wish it would. Bhavani, ma'am, I always felt since 80s to 90s that Bollywood were trying to force feed a certain agenda. Yes. But problem is back then, public supported them. I was shocked to hear that PK film was a box office success. Yes, here, Bhavani, I'd like to say that at that time, I was quite, I used to question the stories, the scripts that, of most of the Hindi films, all revolved around gangsters and people like Anil Kapoor, always acting like, the hero, who is bad, but he's good, and who is loved by Madhuri Dixit. Then you have Jackie Shroff. So these people were actually, trying to push us into a certain script where they glorify these gangsters. And so they look okay while they do all these dark deeds. So we do not know about it till people like SSR started exposing. Runa Roy, good morning. Meena, all this should come to an end. This will give justice to SSR who sacrificed his life to get the truth to us. Are we filing online petition as we discussed a few sessions back? Thanks. No, Runa, we are planning to, as we said, have a team which will, form some, take some points and then decide to see, someone prominent and go about it. We will keep you informed. Nanda, only NRI sister is supporting Ankita. Others haven't commented anything yet. Yes. And Jen, ma'am, did you see the photos of being human with new law minister? No, that is an old picture. It's not a new picture, Jen. Shaiju, why was the Lullahs never questioned about Divya Bharti's death? We should collectively question the couple now because they are the only witness to the gruesome death. Yes, you remember she asked the brother and Divya's brother and husband to go, and that she would manage to console. So that itself was something fishy, and she also told the maid, to remain in the kitchen, and that's when all this happened. Yes. KB. Ma'am, so why court order for demolition of auction not being complied with? It will send bold messages to all the government's power greater than Dawood. Yes, I hope something like this can be done, KB. Peace. Sonu Nigam's video soon after SSR's murder shows how Footpath Bhai was meddling in music field. Gulshan Kumar too was being harassed by dons as well. Yes. Deepak Art Lover. According to the slides, Gulshan Kumar found out the truth behind the bomb blast and Divya Bharti's death, so that he was murdered and the blame was given to extortion. Leena, good evening. Leena, welcome. Varsha, what about the stay on SSR movie? Why no strict action is imposed? Why the HC ordered for mutual settlement outside court? See, I'm not saying that, everything is clean, Varsha. See, even what decisions are being made are in our interest, I don't think. There are pockets everywhere, Varsha, so I cannot speak about that openly. Divakar, throw the Baramati Don and family in jail. 50% problem solved. Pawar was godfather of Dawood. Monica, did you hear about the news, Ms. Meena, that Jaya Bachchan had used a hand and shoved it up some reporter's neck, pushing him away? I've never seen anybody in a movie industry behave that way. Are you talking about the Bengal election time? I think I saw that where she, you should see her face. I mean, it looks so wicked when she pushed him away. Absolutely, very, very uncouth, and very unbecoming, and not she doesn't come out as a kind person. Usha, welcome, Usha. You're late. Dipali, who killed Divya? Yes, I think by now we all know who it was. Maid was killed too. Is it? Oh, so that's some news we did not get. Sanjay, Dawood was ready to come to India, but Sharad Pawar stopped it. From the diaries of SSI, it looks like he must have felt like an absolute misfit in a very unethical industry. Looks like one has to look away in Mumbai to survive. Yes. Archana, good evening. Sakshi, HC is also under these. Yeah, so somewhere, this is what is a problem. There may be pockets. Monica, Divya's story was equally strange. I'm studying her case. Why would Nita Lullah suddenly want to come with her husband on the night just to discuss costume? That's odd. Yes, something very, very strange. Absolutely true. He was a misfit amongst school dropouts. She has anger issues and is frustrated. We're talking about Jay Bhadri. Shaiju, one thing I'm still not able to wrap my mind around. Someone mentioned that SSR was going to have a press conference on 14 June. How come none of the media people came out confirming the same? Shaiju, can I ask you a question? I mean, which of the mainstream media, even today, is talking about Sushant's death? Even Republic has stopped, right? Times Now has stopped. So there is some pressure on all these people or money or whatever. I'm not talking about Republic because Arnab is a clean person, but your mainstream media being funded to not say things. Otherwise, why would an interview of Ria, which is completely concocted to show her side, shown in certain channels? In fact, Z News refused it because they said they don't want to show a paid. It was a paid script. Sakshi, Bachchan family also holds a lot of dark, dirty secrets. Yes. In fact, there are some photographs of Bachchan with Nadeem, Shravan, and Gulshan Kumar. I was going through those photos as well. Of course, during that time, he was the main actor. Dr. Pushpalata, the lawyers in NCB, not that competent nor compromise. Why till now bail cancellation of RIA pending in SC? KB, agree with you. Divaka. Good evening, Piyush. Thank you for joining. Neeta Lalla's role was exactly the same as Anju Mahendru in Jia's Sakshi. Seems like. Any news of Dr. Padma? Not as yet, Sanjay. Now that Devendra Fadnavis has been named, it will be very interesting if Modi ji will allow for the case to be pushed forward. Peace. I got to see many videos of SSR only after his murder. India was asked by jealous Bollygang not to promote SSR. It's very amusing piece. If you look at Karan Johar's Coffee with Karan, everywhere he has a question for Sushant, and it's always in a negative light. And then he gives that stupid gay smile of his, and those the people he's talking to or interviewing go into raptures as though he's spoken some beads of wisdom. All clowns, the whole lot. Preeti Singh, I checked Gurudat's death. His son claimed it was murder and some things got stolen from studio on night of his death. His son too died early age. Fishy. In fact, there's a whole list of murders, Preeti, from that time. Perhaps we'll do a session on that because I have the complete list with me, given to me by a person who does not want to be named, and he is doing a lot of research. He is in college and he has so much of information which he keeps giving. So perhaps we'll do a session on that as well. KB, Jay Bachchan is daughter of Bengal and yet shoved that person so rudely. Most likely her fan who was videoing her. Shameless. And then she talks of Thali Mein Ched. I find KB that more than anything, she's very uncouth, very unpleasant. She does not know how to conduct herself in any sort of environment. She looks like somewhere down. Priya, welcome. Varsha, dogs are always loyal, but in SSR case, Fudge is missing in every aspect. Why not taking Fudge's help? He loved SSR dearly. No news of him. Where is Fudge? See, Varsha, if you talk about things, so many things can be asked. What happened to all his drives? And what did Ria take in her suitcases? What were the big bags that Mane Shinde's assistant, the lawyer, took from Sushant's house? And then what was that black bag that the servant was carrying when the ambulances came? It was like it was a garden. Anybody could walk in and do anything. So this was a very sort of a environment, very what do you say, conducive environment where Mumbai police allowed everybody to walk in and walk out because the whole thing had to be hushed, and any evidence had to be hidden. Sanjay, Jaya Bachchan is carrying women right from when she came into the industry with Goody. The funny thing is, Sanjay, that she wants good press. She does not want bad press. She wants to hear only good things about her daughter-in-law, and her husband and her son. Anything bad, she's not going to take it. Even if people say that, she shouldn't be wearing, her granddaughter shouldn't be wearing torn jeans. I mean, those are people's, viewpoints. I mean, you can't shut them up. Grace Melroy, no mainstream media is talking. They have stopped us as they were pressed in some way. The government removes loopholes of them so that they never come out of it. SSR case is solved long time ago. No, Grace, I'm sure will come out. Malini, welcome, Malini. Boycott, Tata Click, K. Johar promotes it. Sometimes uh, Sakshi, at night when I'm watching a movie, and then in Netflix or other channel, you will find Karan Johar's ad coming. And in this very gay voice, he says, "Amma, I need some pasta." And it makes me angry. It makes me laugh. It makes me just the fact that he's such a clown. Kundan, ma'am, what do you think about Zabrina washing? Uh, no, I didn't understand, Kundan, who you're talking about. Shamal, can Divya case be reopened? Yes, it can, just like Jia's case can. Make a video on the death of Divya Bhati. We've already done it, Deepak. If you look at one of the earlier videos, you check by older videos. Dr. Pushpalata, Priyanka's reply, not everything that happens in real life is broadcasted on Twitter. Once a case is open for investigation, 306, 302 are within the ambit of the agency to ascertain which. Yes, yes, you're talking about Zabrina. Okay, now I get you. I don't trust her, Kundan. I find her as devious as her husband and children. Nanda, doctor is there when Divya's death happens. It means, as but mentioned, injection deke sula denge. Dr. Pushpalata, which means the scope of investigation is not limited but wide open. Yes. Thank you, Pushpalata, for that. So let me just read the whole thing. Priyanka's reply, not everything that happens in real life is broadcasted on Twitter. Once a case is open for investigation, 306, 302 all are within the ambit of the agency to ascertain which means the scope of investigation is not limited but wide open. Yes. Bhavani, even Sharma brothers, सूरज की गर्मी से जलते हुए disappear into anonymity. Priya, Minaji, I know it's a change of topic. John McPhee made antivirus in his last name. He ended up with 32 gigabytes of corruption, including his globally worldwide child trafficking. They're finished. Yes. And he was killed. Shaiju, there was a story back in the day that once Ankita stomped into SSR set and slapped him for not picking up her. Yes. In fact, I think SSR has also mentioned about her temper. Jennifer, Cooper Hospital needs to be investigated for their malpractice. And you remember the policeman said that it's the same doctor who, says that it was an accident or it was drowning or it was hanging, never a murder. What do you think about Zenia Wahab? Less said about her, the better. Usma, I'm waiting for SSR on Monday, Usma, at 8 o'clock. Sakshi, his ads make me puke. Absolutely. Sanchi, cunning clown. Sanjay, never liked Jai Bachchan, preferred Rehana Sultan. Yes, she was really good. Boycott, literally. Yes. Pushpalata, Jai Bachchan's frustrations reflect on her face. She never looks happy and too arrogant. I never liked her in comeback movies. Yes. Harish, reason is plain and simple. Dons and international funding. Today's market and stock exchange also are affected by big-time fraudster billionaires. Yes. Peace, Shaiju, she made his life hell. She'll get her karma. And then you have a sister trying to cajole her. Sanjay, that was Zarina Nawab, yes. People like Divya, SSR get killed. That's what happened even with Gulshan. He was a simple man with simple tastes, and he rose up from a juice seller. So people like him are killed even today. Anything on Mahesh Bhatt? A sharp, shrewd man. He's destroying many lives. The funny thing, Sanchi, is that, see, he's the one who gives roles to all these newcomers and slowly gets them into all this. And then slowly he disappears from the scene. It's very strange, very suspicious about this family. Dipali, destroy Bollywood. Sanjay, I was surprised how Rubiaji became friend of Anjumayendu. The latter was well known as a XXX. Yeah. She said she was not close to her. So that was a question I asked her in one of the sessions. Ma'am, will the truth related to SSR come out? Dipali, yes, it will. Grace, there must be so many evidence from Mitti River. No mention of what was found in those came out ever. Yes. Shaswati, hello, ma'am. Welcome. Hey, you're also Bengali, I suppose. Deepthi, I believe some celebrity had filed a complaint against DCP Trimukhe a couple of years ago. Oh, we would like to know who, Deepthi, and welcome to our channel. It's nice to see you. Dr. Pushpalata, ma'am, do you remember a case similar to Janvi happened in Delhi just few years back? Boy, after consuming drugs in house party, ran away from home and got killed mysteriously. I remember it vaguely, Pushpalata, but not in detail. Perhaps you could tell us, and you could come into our program one day and talk about it. Lena, if CBI has analyzed all the evidences, interrogated those present on 14 June, the case could have been solved by now. It looks like, Lena, even we can solve the case now. It's that much information that we have. Sakshi, Kareena Kapoor Khan is another. Yes. Deepthi, everybody is happy to see you. KB, why can't they cancel Cooper Hospital license and shut down that place? All unholy and illegal death cover-ups happen there. Medical Council comes under the center, I suppose. Yes, this is something we should ask in our tweets, KB. Please note that. This is something we should ask. My baby watched Chuchu TV, but it annoys me most when these Bollywood and the related ads appear. They don't even leave the baby channels from promoting their stuff. Oh, is it? On baby channels as well? My God. Deepak, ma'am, please tell about Padma, ma'am. She's not anywhere looking from many days. Please, if we know. Yes. Last I heard was that she's okay. We'll find out, Deepak. Shaswati, yes. I'm from Bengali. Yes. Cradle of culture. Dr. Pushpalata, Mahesh Bhatt was called by Mumbai police only to show in media because of pressure from people after Kangana interview. Sakshi, hi Deepthi ma'am, we're very excited for your session on Monday. That's really sweet of you. I'll just take a few more and then we can end the session. Vibor has come back with a narrative stating Ria was an informer to SSR and he paid her. SSR was a secret agent. I think he's been taking bits and pieces from Deepti's, decoding of the diaries. Nanda, Pakistani actress Meera also complained about Bhatt. Yes. We have dark-minded people everywhere in every religion. Yes. Dipali, please save youngsters from Bollywood. Can't see with family. Absolutely. So many of these scenes we cannot see at all. Thank you, friends, for this wonderful session. Okay, there's just one more we'll take. Wazi and Paramveer definitely knew about SSR death. Yes, apparently he was present on that night. So let's see if we can get more information coming out. Sanjay? Well, no one watching them on regular channels, so now they have to go to baby channel. Yes. KB? Well, Leena Dixit, Mumbai police never wanted to solve that murder, else they wouldn't have left the venue open as free for all. Yes. Dipali, some say SSR is... No, please. Let's not come out with that theory. This is something that the PR are trying to push. Priya, Meenaji, we are going through a great awakening. All corruption has been revealed to humanity. It's all exposures. We all come together. We are love and conscious. Hollywood is gone. Yes. And Bollywood as well. Good night, friends. Monica, it's time for deep change for all of us. Absolutely. We'll end on that note. Thank you, Monica, for that. And good night, friends. So I'll see you tomorrow in another session, interesting session with Sanjat about child organ trafficking and other such topic tomorrow at 8 o'clock. Please join us. and good night.